The Lion King. The hot African sun rose over Pride Rock, as it did every morning. But today was no ordinary day. The animals of the Pride Lands were gathered together to honour the birth of King Mufasa and Queen Saribi's newborn cub, Simba. The king and queen watched as Rafiki, the wise baboon, held Simba up for the whole kingdom to see. The elephants trumpeted, the monkeys jumped up and down, and the zebras stomped their hooves with happiness. But not everyone was pleased. Mufasa and his trusted advisor, Zazu, wanted to find out why Scar, Mufasa's brother, had not come to the ceremony. Scar was jealous because Simba would be the next king. "I was first in line until the little hairball was born," Scar grumbled. Time passed and Simba grew into a healthy, playful young cub. Early one morning, he and Mufasa climbed to the top of Pride Rock. There, Mufasa told Simba that one day he'll be king. "Look, Simba, everything the light touches is our kingdom," Mufasa said. "What about that shadowy place?" Simba asked. "That's beyond our borders. You must never go there," Mufasa said sternly. Later that day, Simba ran into Scar. "Hey, Uncle Scar, guess what? I'm going to be king. My dad just showed me the whole kingdom. I'm going to rule it all." Scar looked slyly at the young cub. He had a secret plan to get rid of Simba. "He didn't show you the shadowy place?" "Well, no," said Simba quietly. "He said I can't go there." "And he's absolutely right. It's far too dangerous. Only the bravest lions go there," Scar said evilly. Simba didn't see his uncle's trap. He wanted to show his father what a brave cub he could be. So he ran home to find his friend Nala. "Come on, I just heard about this great place." Simba and Nala asked their mothers if they could go exploring. Sarabi agreed as long as they took Zazu with them. Simba and Nala raced across the Pride Lands. They led Zazu through herds of animals to lose him. They didn't want him spoiling their fun. The cubs laughed and pounced on each other. They tumbled down a hill and landed in a dark ravine filled with elephant skulls and bones. Simba looked up and gasped, "This is it." But before the cubs could explore any further, Zazu tracked them down. "We're way beyond the boundary of the Pride Lands, and right now we are all in very real danger," he said worriedly. Suddenly 3 hyenas appeared. They backed them into a corner. Just when it looked as if there was no way out, a giant paw appeared and knocked the hyenas over. It was Mufasa. "If you ever come near my son again," he yelled. The frightened hyenas quickly ran away. As they walked home, Mufasa looked at Simba. "You deliberately disobeyed me, Simba. I'm very disappointed in you." Simba crawled onto Mufasa's back. "Dad, we're pals, right? And we'll always be together, right?" Mufasa smiled. "Simba, let me tell you something my father told me. Look at the stars. The great kings of the past looked down on us from there. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you. And so will I." Meanwhile, Scar was at the hyena's lair. He was furious his plan hadn't worked, but he had a new one. He warned the hyenas to be prepared. The hyenas laughed. "Yeah, be prepared. We'll be prepared." "For what?" Scar glared at them. "For the death of the king." The next day, Scar brought Simba to the gorge where the wildebeests were grazing. "Now you wait here," Scar said to Simba. "Your father has a marvellous surprise for you." When Scar was safely away, he signalled to the hyenas. They raced into the gorge and chased the herd of wildebeest towards Simba. Scar ran off to find Mufasa. "Stampede in the gorge! Simba's down there!" Mufasa jumped into the gorge to find his son. He grabbed Simba and put him on a nearby ledge. But when Mufasa tried to climb up the rocks crumbled beneath him. He saw Scar standing above him. "Brother, help me!" he yelled desperately. Scar dug his sharp claws into Mufasa's paw. "Long live the king," he said, and he let Mufasa go. Scar found Simba by Mufasa's body. "It was an accident. I didn't mean for it to happen. What am I going to do?" Simba whispered. Scar smiled wickedly. "Run away, Simba. Run away and never return." While Scar returned to rule over Pride Rock, Simba did as his uncle said. He ran until he couldn't run any more. Finally, he collapsed to the ground. When Simba awoke, everything looked different. A warthog named Pumbaa and a meerkat named Timon had found him and brought him home with them. Timon explained his motto to Simba, "Hakuna Matata." It means, "No worries, you've got to put your past behind you," said Timon, and that is exactly what Simba did. Years passed and Simba grew up to a big, strong lion. He had almost forgotten about his past until one day he saw a lioness attacking Pumbaa. Simba came to his friend's rescue, but the lioness easily flipped Simba on his back. Looking up at her, Simba realised that she was his old friend, Nala. Nala was surprised to see Simba. Scar had told everyone that he was dead. "Why didn't you come back to Pride Rock? You're the king," she said. Simba turned away. "I'm not the king. Scar is." Nala chased after him. "Simba, there's no food, no water. You're our only hope." But Simba didn't believe he could challenge Scar. That night, Rafiki visited Simba. "I know who you are. You're Mufasa's boy. He's alive, and I'll show him to you. You follow old Rafiki. He knows the way." Rafiki led Simba to a nearby pond. Simba looked into the water, and he saw a lion. "That's not my father. It's just my reflection," Simba said, disappointed. Rafiki shook his head. He touched his finger to the water, and it began to swirl. "Look harder. You see, he lives in you." Suddenly, Mufasa's shape appeared in the clouds. "Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life." Anger rushed through Simba's body. He scrambled back onto the rock and pinned Scar. He gnarled at his uncle. Run away, Scar, and never return." Scar started to slink off, then turned and lunged at Simba. With a swipe of his giant paw, Simba knocked his uncle over the ledge. Scar plunged into the gorge below. With Scar gone, Simba took his rightful place as king. Before long, the Pride lands flourished again. Nala remained at Simba's side, and soon they had a cub of their own. As the sun shone down on them, Rafiki held the cub up for the whole kingdom to see. The Pride lands had a new prince. The circle of life continued on.